Hi, my darlings. I'm Sophie Darling, and welcome to the final episode of Series 1 of Apothecary Diaries. I can't believe there's only 24 episodes. I genuinely thought there was 26. I'm not sure where I got the number 26 from, but this has been a phenomenal journey, and I can't wait to watch Series 2 so we can have more of that slow burn tension between Jinshi and Mao Mao. So I'm really looking forward to how series 2 kind of ramps that up, whether we'll maybe get a kiss. Maybe we'll get more romantic interactions between the two of them. Fingers crossed. But this has been probably one of the best things I've ever seen. This has very quickly become, dare I say, my favorite show. I think it just has everything that I love. Political tension, court intrigue, the dynamic between Jinshi and Mao Mao, the fact that all the characters are so lovable and likable. It's really impactful in terms of the themes and symbolism. Nothing is without reference. Nothing is just thrown in for the sake of it. Something so small ends up coming back into play further into the series, and you go, oh my god, how did I not get that? Because it seems so irrelevant, but it ends up being like a core plot line or something incredibly important. I just love the mystery and thriller aspect. So series 2 has a lot to do in order to beat series 1 for me. So here's hoping it only gets better from here and not worse. And we also have series 3 next year, which is so long away. It's like a year away. It's October 2026. And then there's a movie, but the movie isn't Apothecary Diaries. The movie is something else that the author's written. So that will be interesting. We're going to get into the final episode of series 1. Without further ado, we're going to get into the final episode. And I'm probably going to cry because it's the final episode of series 1. So it's going to be some emotional gut punches, but I really hope Lacan and Mama's mom have their happy ending. They deserve, after all the pain and suffering they've been through, to finally be together. But as to how long she has left is another question, because she's got syphilis and it's ravaged her to such an extent that she may not have long left. But even still, if they can have a few years together, I think that's better than her withering away in the annex, being taken care of by everyone else around her, if she can spend the last few years of her life with the man that she loves.
残った娘と共にいたい。ただそれだけが願いだった。
The she left behind.
憎まれても仕方がない。
So he's saying past tense, but it's as if he thinks that she's dead.
許せん。試合中3回も娘の肩に手をかけよって。
Oh, he doesn't like it.
うちの議長を身請けしようってんだ。銀の1000や2000で買えるもんじゃないと分かってるだろうね。
分かってるよ。銀1万で足りなければ2万でも3万でも。さすがに10はちときついがな。
そうかい。なら早くこっちへ来な。好きなのを選ばせてやるよ。
All I see is boobs. I'm no better than a man.
おや、三姫も交えていいのかい。好
きなのをと言ったはずだよ。
どんなに着飾った儀仗もご意志にしか見えない。
You can't see their faces.
よくしてくれたメイメイに報いてもいいのかもしれない。
ラカン様。ん？私とて義女のプライドは持ち合わせてます。
He doesn't want to be brought out.
もしお望みでしたら何のためらいもございません。
Is she going to introduce him? She is.
選ぶならちゃんと選んでくださいね。
She knows that there's only one woman for him.
メイメイ、勝手に開けるんじゃないよ。
Granny's been hiding her from him. He didn't know she was alive, did he?
あれに意味があったとしたら、まさか。
He Looks like he's seen a ghost.
何やってんだい。ここは病人部屋だよ。早く出ておいき。さっさと向こうで議事を選ぶんだよ。
Why did she hide her from him?
この女で頼む。
バカ言ってんじゃないよ。
誰でもいいと言ったのはババアの方だろう。金はいくらでも出そう。10万でも20万でも払ってやる。
After he said he wouldn't pay 100,000, he will for her. Why is she so against it?
こうやろう。
It's like the first time we see her smile. She's almost like herself again.
こう来たか。君の打つ手はいつも突拍子もない。ママはそんな君に似たんだな。
May I understand how you feel.
最初から素直になっていればよかったのに。どうしてもっと早く。
私はこの議場を身請けするよ。宝泉家のような美しいこの女を。
This is what Mao Mao conspired for all along. Unite her parents. We're like 7 minutes in. He didn't know that she was alive. And she's so happy to see him. Why did Granny hide her? Why wasn't Granny honest? Is Granny more connected to her than we give her credit for? Because she seems to really genuinely care for her. So I'm wondering if, like, for her to have kept her in the annex all this time and to help look after her and medicate her and dedicate all this time and resource, there has to be some intimacy there. Like, are they like related? Are they mother and daughter? But then the idea, well, it wouldn't be the first time that a mother sold her daughter into prostitution, essentially. But also, her daughter is this high valued courtesan where she wasn't allowed to be touched. She was highly praised and was allowed to keep her purity intact. And maybe that was what the mother always wanted for her daughter. Not necessarily this life for her, but the one thing that she could do was protect her by making her so desirable that no one could sully her, no one could sleep with her. But then when she was pregnant and subsequently lost her reputation, she couldn't protect her anymore, even if she wanted to, because the damage was already done. There was nothing she could do. But it would also explain why she was so caring for Mao Mao, why she wanted to take Mao Mao in, why she didn't just discard of Mao Mao. She let the three princesses practically raise her. She let the doctor take her in, which was a good home for Mao Mao to grow up in. She took care of Mao Mao's mom. Like, there has to be some connection there. You wouldn't just dedicate all this time and resource into one person, regardless of how much money they may have made you at one point, because when you're operating a brothel, you'd be thinking in terms of like profit. And if they're a drain on resources, you're not going to keep them around. And she was a drain on resources in the sense that she has syphilis. They have to pay for her medication. They have to have people take care of her. They have to occupy a room that could be given to someone else. They didn't have to keep her here. They could have just discarded her out on the streets, but they didn't. So there has to be a reason that Granny cares so deeply for her. Thinking back to the dialogue, I don't think she said that she was dead, but I think she kind of inferred it, and Lacan just believed her and presumed that to be the case and didn't challenge it. And therefore, when Mei Mei reveals the truth that she is actually alive, she's shocked because she doesn't want to let this man near her because to her that's the man that ruined Bengshon. I can't say her name because he's the one that led to her suffering, because if not for him, if not for him getting her pregnant, she wouldn't have had to have sold herself, she wouldn't have contracted syphilis, she wouldn't have had to go through all this suffering. She could have been bought out by someone and lived a life of freedom, well, freedom, relative freedom, and luxury instead of having to service men sexually. And it's all so incredibly tragic. But I think Granny could potentially then be her mom, because why would you do all of this? Why would you go through all of this to protect one person? Unless there was an intimate reason for doing so. And the most intimate of reasons would be if that was your daughter and you wanted to continue to protect her as best you could. Because even if they are mother and daughter, you can't judge her actions necessarily, because in this environment, you do what it takes to survive. And as I said, she may have made her daughter, if that is her daughter, this highly desirable figure in order to ensure that she made money, made a profit, but never had to sexually satisfy a man, that she could be untouched, but not even she can protect her when her reputation is ruined. But she can continue to protect her from the one man that she feels led to this tragedy that ruined her. So that could be why she was never honest with Lacan. She didn't outright lie to him, but she also wasn't honest with him. But I had to take a minute. I was like, it's literally been 6 minutes into this episode, 7 minutes into this episode, sorry, nearly 8 minutes. And I've already just sobbed. The way that man ran the minute he heard her singing. All he wants is her. There has been no other woman for him but her.
チッ腹黒親子め。
あれ
Oh,
がローラン妃。園遊会の後こちらに残っていたのか。
the way he said the wicked father-daughter duo. Ayo.
誰かに聞かれたら、私も悪口を言っていたと誤解される。まだまだ青いね。
ご苦労だったな。
いえ、それほどでも。
あらあら、こんなに痩せちゃって。
Oh,
はい、シャオマオ、たくさん食べなさいね。
that looks so
まだまだ持っ
good.
てきてあげるから。
I love that she's like, oh my god, let me feed you up, my girl.
お前はてっきり恨んでいるものかと思っていたが。
恨んじゃいません。こちらとしては、うまく命中させてくれたおかげでここにいますので。
他に言い方はないのか。
本当のことです。何を想像したか
She
知りません
doesn't
が
hate him.
義女の合意がなければ子ははらみません。不妊薬や堕胎剤もありますし、産んだのはその意志があったからでしょう。
Because she thought he would come back and they'd be a family.
女とは狡猾な生き物です。
I
血の流
did
れの
say
周期を
that
読め
could
ば
this be
子が
what
で
she
きやすい
wanted all
日時など
along?
ある程度予測がつきます。義女ならば文を出して訪問の日を変えてもらうこともできます。だからこそ、狙いが外れた時は我を忘れたこと
Well,
だ
she
ろう。
didn't lose her mind when things didn't work
自分を
out.
傷つけることすら厭わないほどに。それでは飽き足らず、赤子の小指まで添えて文を送った。
Well, I guess you could say she did lose her mind, but who wouldn't though if they felt that they'd ruined themselves for the man they loved and he just abandoned her? So, like, I can understand why she did it. She wanted to be with him, and I did say that it felt as if maybe this was something that she had planned in the hope that if she devalued herself enough, he'd be able to afford to buy her out. And the way to devalue herself is to get pregnant. But he wasn't there. And she didn't know that he was gone and thought that he had just abandoned her and her child. And by extension, she felt so enraged that she took it out on Mao Mao. But it's complicated. I don't want to judge her too harshly because the way that women are impacted in this society by such things as reputation and societal judgment, it would drive someone to do something so intense as to try and harm their baby. And I don't think it's wrong either to judge her for planning it because she wanted a better life for herself out of the brothel and with the man that she loved. So she definitely was strategizing, but again, I don't think even she out strategized Lacan because he could have been the one to have demanded it from her by picking chess, but he didn't. He picked go, knowing that she would win. So she still made that choice. I think they would have slept together regardless of who won, but I think he may not have known that it was her intention to get pregnant, but she knew that he couldn't afford her and they wanted to be together. And she thought that this would be the way of doing it. And unfortunately, their lives did not pan out that way because of other societal impacts, such as Lacan being sent away and her thinking that he had abandoned her, which wasn't the case and wasn't intentional, but you can empathize. I think we can think what she did to Mao Mao is wrong whilst also empathizing what drove her to it. I'm not saying that what she did was okay or that it was right to harm Mao Mao in that process, to want to hurt her child, but I think we need to look at it from the perspective of how women in this society are driven to desperate measures, are driven to, as Mao Mao puts it, almost insanity because they've pinned their hopes on this one thing and they gambled everything and lost it, and there's no coming back. There's no making amends for their reputation that's been lost in the process. She took a gamble and she lost, and it's horrible, the consequences of that gamble. And yes, she could have got rid of Mao Mao, but she clearly wanted Mao Mao. She clearly wanted to have this family with Lacan, but unfortunately, things didn't work out that way. And everyone's a victim here. Everyone's suffered. She's suffered, Lacan suffered, and Mao Mao has suffered. Again, what she did to Mao Mao in terms of cutting off her little finger isn't something I can agree with. It's not something I ever would sanction, but I can empathize with the mindset, the mental torment and turmoil that she must have been driven into, knowing that her chance of escape, of having that family unit, of giving her daughter a family was gone, that the man she loved and trusted above all had, in her eyes, betrayed her, and she had been left with the evidence of that betrayal, which is Mao Mao, the symbol of his existence and their union together. Again, what happened to Mao Mao? Not okay. What she did to Mao Mao is wrong, but I can't hate her in terms of that she in turn was struggling and suffering, knowing that the consequence of him not coming back would be that she would have to sleep with men, and she likely couldn't bear the prospect of that. But she obviously still loved Mao Mao to an extent. She could have killed Mao Mao. She didn't kill Mao Mao. I think her intention when she's over her with the knife was initially to kill her, was so consumed by rage and anger and hurt that she wanted to get rid of the evidence of what ruined her reputation, which in her eyes is Mao Mao. She's taken that rage that she feels towards Lacan out on her daughter because she can't on Lacan because she doesn't know where he is. So unfortunately, Mao Mao becomes the victim to her anger and frustration. But she can't kill her because she obviously loves her and feels maternal instinct towards her. So she severs the finger to curse Lacan and keeps her daughter alive. Her daughter then goes on to be breastfed by Pyron, but she loves Mao Mao. It's just complicated. It's just tragic and complicated between them. But I can understand why Mao Mao feels like she's worthless because her own mother, in her eyes, didn't even want her, harmed her in a way that she can't fathom, or because she loved a man and pinned her hopes on being with him and took a gamble that didn't pay off. She can't fathom it because she can't understand ever being in that situation because she's, in her mind, learnt from the mistakes of her mother and the other women in the brothel. She feels almost that it's foolish to be so in love with a man that you'd risk everything for them. So yeah, Mau Mau sees it as stupidity, even calls her a stupid woman, which I was like, oh, a bit harsh. But in hindsight, I can understand why Mau Mau feels that way, why she thinks that she's stupid, because she risked everything for a single man and lost everything in the process. But it also makes sense as to why Mau Mau is so down on herself. She feels like she wasn't wanted, that she wasn't loved, that even her own mother didn't want her. I think it's just difficult. It's just complicated, and not everyone has a healthy relationship with their mother. And I think we need to look at it from the perspective of the time, from how difficult it must be to lose your reputation and also have to give birth in a brothel whilst the one person you allowed to know you intimately and who you trusted above all else has in your mind abandoned you. It would drive anyone to do something that they never previously would have ever thought to have done. And poor Mau Mau bears the consequences of that and also the trauma.
同じような顔に見えるそうです。
それは気の毒だな。
ええ。その話をしてくれた養父もそう言っていました。でもなぜか私と養父の顔だけはしっかりわかるみたいで、おかしな執着するのもそれが原因のようです。
Because he could see her face.
あのモノクルにパパって呼んでと言われたらどう思いますか？
To be fair, you would be like, what the fuck?
自分を父親だと言い張りますが、せいぜい種馬がいいところです。
He didn't raise her. So that's why she doesn't see him as her father, because he wasn't there when she needed him most.
でも恨んではいません。ルオメンの娘になれた点だけは感謝しているんです。
その割には露骨な嫌い方に見えたが。
ジンス様もまだよくわかっていま
It's
せんね。
complicated.
胎児を止めようとしたとき、私はあの男に助けられました。おそらく何か起きることを感じていたんです。
I said this, that it felt like he was leaving little breadcrumbs.
証拠を集め予測を立てるのではなく、きな臭そうなことを勘で判断して、それをめったに外します。腹立たしいことに、面倒くさがりで自分では動かないの。
So he got Mau Mau to do the work for him.
が表立って動いていれば、今頃蘇りの妙薬が
Oh, she's still
手元にあった
dwelling
か
on
も
that.
しれない。
She's like, I want that drug. Still bad.
ている。これは嫉妬だ。親父が手放しで褒めるほどなのに、あの男は自分の恵まれた才を分かっていない。味方にはできませんが、敵にしない方がいいでしょうね。
He's only frustrated at Jinshi because Jinshi has Mau Mau in his care and he wants Mau Mau to live with him, and she's like, nah. But yeah, he doesn't want to be disliked. He just wants to be a dad to his daughter.
中には誰が誰に身請けされたか書かれた手紙と
Exactly what she
美し
planned.
いヒレが入っていた。
私が身請けされるときはちゃんと踊るのよ。
I'm gonna cry again, aren't
本
I?
当はみんな姉ちゃんを送りたかった。
Oh, she thinks it's Mei Mei that's been brought out.
誰よりも優しい。あの
But
美
it's
女
not Mei Mei. But it's not Mei Mei she's dancing for, it's her parents. I thought maybe she'd be able to go.
星の夜に瞬く記憶、時を戸惑いながら痛み知るたび胸のいつか消えない傷あるなら
This show is so beautiful.
思いを凛と開いて祈のために咲くそのより
It's Mau Mau's send off to her parents.
いつまでも
案外覚えているもんだな。
What the fuck?
何
何をやっているんだ。
ジン様
That
なんでここにいるんです？
hand placement though.
また変な女が外壁によじ登っていると報告を受けた。対処するしかなかろう。
You already had one weird woman.
手間をかけさせるな。
わざわ
Gonna
ざ
give
ジ
the
ン
man a
様
heart
がいらっしゃらな
attack.
くても他の方が来ればいいのでは？
親切な衛兵がお前の顔を知っていて、こちらに話を通してきたんだ。地味にやっているつもりでも、周りはそう思っていないことは覚えておけ。
And she's acting up again.
花町では身請けされた妓女を見送るとき、他の妓女たちが舞を舞うんです。
外では噂になっていたな。あの変人が妓女を見受けすると。
Does she know it's her mum?
ついでに
Because I
休暇
think she
届
thought
を
it
出せ。
was Maymay.
10日は休むつもりでいるらしい。
Because Maymay sent the shawl.
姉の手紙に書いてありました。3日3晩どころか7日7晩宴
Oh
をするそ
wow.
うです。身請け金にいくら使ったか知らないが、
I think she knows it's for her
あの暗
mum.
丼の上がりをそこらの妓女の身請けの日じゃない。しかし身請けされた妓女は
They can't show who it actually is he's buying out.
あの男が身請けした女はそんなに長く持つまい。議論にいた時、私を産んだ女の話を聞いたことはなかった。しかしそんな話はちょっとしたことから漏れていくものだ。六章館が潰れかけた原因が自分にあること。あの悪夢は本当にあったことだった。
Yeah.
女の母たる記憶はない。今あるのは歪んだ小指だけだ。ルオメンの娘として幸せになったのだから。指の先って切っても伸びてくるんです。
So that explains her
今
finger.
言うことか。
I think it's true only if you're a child. Oh
何してん
no!
だ。
傷口が開いてしまいました。
She's a menace. Gonna give that man a heart attack, I swear.
や
ジンス様、縫えません。
ー、ここで縫うな。
Oh my goodness.
ジンスさん、下ろしてください。
Oh,
傷口が広がるだろう。
she's like
誰
getting
か
hot
に
and
見られたら
flustered.
どうするんですか？
He doesn't care.
どうせ暗くて見えない。
He loves you. He doesn't care.
ジンス様、こんな時に申し訳ないの
Is she gonna ask why he was the one in the ceremony?
ありました。
どうした急に改まって。
どうしても言わなくてはいけない大切なことでした。
It's gonna be something silly. Look at her face.
さっさと言ってくれないか。
ジンス
She's
様、
so pretty.
ご応募ください。まさか用意してないのですか？
失礼なことを抜かすな。まったく。
いきなり頭突きとは大人げない。
You thought she was gonna kiss him and confess her feelings. Oh, they really baited us with that potential kiss, didn't they? Oh, this show.
マオマオ、ジンシ様がいらっしゃってるわよ。
はーい。
もう体調は
I'm
戻った
still
のか。
like, I've still tears running down my
Yeah.
face. We're just gonna
最近
like.
では皆さんよくしてくれますので。
頼みたいことがあるんだが。
Oh,
ああ、またか。で、私は一体
she's happy though. She likes it. I'm so glad I don't have to wait for series 2. Oh, I'm so glad I don't have to wait. What an amazing series. I'm gonna cry all over again. Holy shit. I did not expect to like sob so much at this final episode. Holy. At first I was really confused. I was like, Mau Mau obviously set it up that her parents would be reunited and her mom would get bought out. She knew that they wanted to be together, and that was the one way that she could bring them both happiness and also herself some peace. So that, like, he'd leave her alone because he won't be pestering her to come and live with him because he will have her mum to occupy him. So, yeah, I thought, wait, what? Does she not know? And then it became obvious that she knows she's dancing for her parents to send them off because they finally get their happy ever after, even though it's only going to be brief because her mom doesn't have long left, but they get their happy ending. It must have been hard for Mao Mao as a child hearing people say that she was nearly the reason why the brothel went out of business because her mum's pregnancy with her led to business rapidly declining because the reputation was sullied. But it can't have been easy knowing that people essentially blame you and by extension your mum as well. And Mao Mao doesn't hate her parents. She doesn't resent them. It's just complicated. She is grateful for the sole fact that because of who her dad is, she got to be Lumen's daughter. Because of their relationship and how close they were, Lumen obviously wanted to care for Mao Mao and take her in because that's his great niece. And of course, he's going to want to raise her and give her a life outside of the brothel because they're family, they're connected. And if not for Lacan disappearing, if not for Lacan not coming back in time, she would never have got the opportunity to be Lumen's daughter. So it's her way of trying to find the positive in a tragic, horrible, and downright devastating situation. She's trying to find light at the end of the tunnel. She knows that the circumstances of her birth weren't ideal. She knows that she wasn't treated the way that others would be treated, that she didn't get the family unit that other people were blessed with, but she did get Lumen. And she wouldn't have had Lumen if not for the way everything played out. So I think in some regard, she is grateful to them for Lumen. And she's grateful to Lacan only because of his relationship with Lumen and them being family, that she was able to be his daughter and be raised by him. But she's never really going to see them as her parents because they weren't her parents. They weren't the ones that comforted her at night. They weren't the ones that took care of her. They didn't bathe her. They didn't put her to bed. They didn't do all the things that a parent should do. And yes, Lacan wanted to do that for her, but she would have been a bastard child of, at that time, not a renowned strategist. He was quite low down in the pecking order. So she would have been a bastard child to him. She wouldn't have had that great of a life either. And he would have been incredibly busy trying to work his way up the ranks. She would have likely been raised by servants that wouldn't really want to serve and look after her because she's a bastard child, because legitimacy is a huge thing in this society. So they likely would have looked down on her and probably not treated her as well. So she had a good childhood with Lumen. And yeah, it must have been scary. She looked about three or four when Lacan shows up. So she probably was terrified that this man that suddenly shows up is like, I'm your dad. And she's like, no, you're not. Lumen's my dad. Of course, she's not going to want to go with him. Of course, she's going to be scared because the man that's raised her is her dad. Lacan didn't raise her. So, of course, she's going to want to stay with Lumen. And I do admire that Lacan allowed her to stay with Lumen. He didn't try and pry her away. He didn't force her to leave. He didn't muscle in and say, well, I am her dad, so I'm going to take her. He respected that Lumen was what was best for Mao Mao. And he loved Mao Mao enough to allow her to stay with Lumen. And I admire him for that because she was the only thing up until him knowing that Mao Mao's mom is still alive, was the only thing he had of Mao Mao's mom. So of course he would have wanted her. Of course he would want a relationship with her. He would want to be around her. He'd want to be there, but he still knew that he had to respect what Mau Mau wanted, and he did what was best for Mau Mau, and that was Lumen. So I respect him for that. I respect his willingness to put aside his own wants and needs for the benefit of his child. So he loves and cares for her deeply enough to grant her the life that she wanted with Lumen. And yes, he still pesters her, and yes, he still wants to spend time with her, but that's because he thinks that she's all he has left of the woman that he loved and lost. So of course he wants to see Mau Mau. She's the only evidence of their union up until him knowing that she's alive, and then his attention's like, okay, she's alive, I get to have a few hopefully happy years with her where she actually is out of bed and smiling and herself again. You know, she's almost restored. Of course, she's still mentally impacted by the progression of syphilis, and she still has the rashes, and, you know, she still will need medication to manage her pain and her symptoms. But that is the happiest we've seen her. That is the most like her we've seen her, and she's so stoic and cold in other depictions. So to see her actually sat up and smiling and happy is just everything and more. She actually gets to be with the man that she loves, and they get to have their happy ending. Yes, far later than they should have had it, but nonetheless, they do get to have those moments together. They do get to be together. And I didn't expect Jinshi to headbutt Mau Mau, but I am looking forward to series 2. I love the way that Mau Mau's gone from, oh my god, Jinshi, leave me alone, to now that little smirk and expectation and happiness of spending time with Jinshi, because she's going to care for him and she's going to enjoy his company. But yeah, they really did the bait and switch of, oh my god, are they going to kiss? Are they? And then she's like, no, you promised me this and you didn't give it to me, so where is it? I love her so much. But I mean, that's all I want to say for now, because I'm still recovering from all the emotions and the tears and just that happiness that they get to have a happy ending somewhat after everything they've been through, and Mau Mau's parents are united. But yeah, I need to get myself like together because I still have some more filming to do. But if you enjoyed this react, please consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment below to help boost this video into the algorithm. And until next episode, bye.